Hello, galactic travelers. Welcome to the cosmic time machine. I'm sorry, I have to be a little goofy. Don't hang up. This is the video that we've been waiting for. The Double Simian Line video. The start of identifying more markers that helps us understand what our mission is, why we're here. And it's just these big puzzle pieces that have been hidden from us. And really is starting to connect at a very galactic, ancient level. So first, like always on these first ones, just like the RH negative video, I have to tell you how I came to know this information, because it's such a big part of the story, right? It's me explaining how I came to know about Double Simian and how it came up in my life is here to also jog your memory to look at things maybe in your life that maybe you might have a different perception on now and need to look into, or have a knowing that you need to look into. We all have this information because we planned our soul's journey here. We have a higher self. We planned our missions here. This has been kept from us. This is part of disclosure. This is us taking back the power that the earth had given us as a soul that reincarnated here. And we've all reincarnated here, and we're all souls from all over different starseed nations blended in with a Neanderthal man. Now, those are the parts that are still getting put together. But again, let me rewind. So I'll make this part fast as possible, because I know you just don't want to hear all about Christy. But remember, I'm an AB negative. I was an adopted rape baby, right? And I knew that was really rare. And I believe it comes from the negative comes from my father's side, but I'm not sure about him. That's a whole different topic. So when I had my son about 10 years ago, it was a pretty intense birth and pregnancy. I had to do fertility treatments to have him, and he didn't move much in my womb at all. They kept, it's just, I knew he was fine. I always knew he was fine, but he wasn't one of these babies that kicked and moved around a lot. I almost died having him. We were both in ICU. He was 5 weeks early. So he was small, but everything was okay. And right before I'm supposed to take him home, the doctor, after they asked for tons of blood in an irregular way, total different topic, tells me that they want to do a chromosome test on my son. And the only reason I knew of to have a chromosome test was if your baby has Down syndrome. And it was obvious that he did not have Down syndrome. So when I asked the doctor, told her, no, you're going to need some more convincing of me, why my son's chromosomes need to be tested. And she told me it's because he has Double Simian Lines. And it's really rare. And usually babies born with Double Simian Lines have Down syndrome. Well, I didn't allow him to do the testing. And then as I was leaving, and a little, unnerved that she could tell me nothing else about this. You know, her explanation was, well, he's going to be really gifted, or he's going to be, she said he was could be really, really smart in one area, but to put different things in front of him, and that it's highly likely that he could become a juvenile delinquent. And I was like, what? What? And again, this was pre, you know, awakening, understanding lines, understanding, you know, plans, understanding how all this stuff works for us. Because we weren't supposed to pay attention to that stuff, remember? It was evil for us to get our palms read or have any lines or look at astrology, or we were all going to be damned to hell. So Rex was fine, but he was a very old soul, even upon birth. Just, and a lot of moms are seeing this now with babies that are being born because of Ascension too. But had some situations too as he got older where he remembers being on the other side of the veil. That kind of changed when he turned 7. Had people come and ask me who he is, right? He has this sense about him. And when he was 5 years old is when he started, you know, having these telling me these things of the other side of the veil. And I was always a spiritual person. I didn't understand what humanity was. I wasn't conscious, right? I was, you know, living deep in the matrix still, but I always was spiritual. I always knew that I had a mission. I always knew that it was a big one. And after Rex was born, I always knew it was extremely important, but I didn't know why. And I had a rare bloodline. He had a rare bloodline. These lines. So I sought information. That information led me to the legend of the Perakee, and a wonderful, wonderful soul and Double Simian himself, named Larry Brinkley, wrote down on the internet the legend that was handed down from his grandfather, who was a member of the Bow tribe. And I don't want to get all into the legend yet, because first I want everyone to know what the heck is a Double Simian. So I'm going to put a picture up here of normal hands, right? So here's your normal lines, and I say normal because that's what, I don't know what the percentage is, but it's a, you know, I would say Double Simians used to only be about 2 or 3%. I'm not sure now. When the soul enters the mother's womb, there is a spark. There is the fire of life. It's the soul that enters the womb. We're all energy. So when that soul enters the little fetus, the little body, how that energy is absorbed into our human vessel is what makes the lines on our hands. So, you know, this is head line, heart line. These 2 lines are the head and the heart. And see how these are 3, they're split. And most of us have these split because when the energy came in, the energy was powerful. You know, this is your lifeline, you know, how long it goes past, you know, and then there's other little markers that we'll talk about, like these X's. Some of us have these X's that mean something different. But for Double Simian, these 2 lines go all the way across. And here I'll put up a picture of Double Simian lines. So as you can see, there is no separation between the head and the heart line. It's one line that goes all the way across. Now, the reason that that happens is because the soul essence, the sheer life force that a double simian holds within their soul, which is then in their physical vessel, and their innate that I always talk about, this DNA that they call your junk DNA is not junk. That is how this is how I'm walking my path and knowing and all these things that are coming to me. This is how this is happening. So double simians possess such enormous harnessed soul life force in a human vessel. And we're still, to be honest, linking together where it comes from. And we'll get into the legend of the Perakee and it'll explain more. But right now, what you really need to know is, do you have them? Do you have them on one hand or do you have them on two hands? Because whenever I speak of the double simian, that means that they have the simian line, the head and the heart line are one on both hands. And that energy force, when it comes in, is so strong. It's like a tree. If you've got a lightning strike that hits a tree and it's a little bitty lightning strike, then what? The tree's going to splinter, right? But it's not going to fully just chop it down. Well, when the soul life force is so strong and these energies are so intense, then in the human vessel, when it hits it, it creates these one lines all the way across. Where do we see this? Well, Larry Brinkley will talk about and brought to our attention, right, that the Indian chiefs, when the Indian tribes that they were not familiar with came to visit, came to visit sometimes, sometimes not to visit, but when someone approached, they would hold out their hand and say, how? Or whatever they said, right? They weren't saying, hi, we're in America. No, they're saying, this is my head and my heart line are one. My head, my ego, and my heart, my soul are one. This is what Ascension is all about. So what we're learning through some of the Simian groups. So first of all, I reached out and I talked to Larry. The group was pretty small then. And my son was only 5 years old. So, then I went through everything with the company and Larry and I connected. We even talked. He wanted to meet, but Rex was so young. And so then I just kind of filed it away. And after, I knew he was special, I talked to him about his hands, and I would even, had an idea of what his energies were like to blend, because I'm not a double simian. However, I believe I was chosen as an ancient starseed that I am to birth a double simian, because this information is being bridged right now. So if you have double simian lines, it does not mean that you're going to be a juvenile delinquent, first of all. It means that you're in the right place at the right time. And the fact that so many have gathered here's a little history and how this is going with the double simians that are starting to gather. This is information that was sent to me from a group, the Simian Line. About 10 years ago, a phenomenon happened that facilitated the gathering en masse of those who bear the Simian line, using the 4-year-old Facebook as its medium. A group began called the Simian Line, and the members of this group began growing slowly and steadily since then, from about 126 when I joined to about 4,927 today. We felt that this was a perfect group in which to welcome those who are just beginning their journey finding their inner truth. From there, in late 2012, Larry Brinkley, with the help of Eric, started the Legend of the Perakee group, which is now around 675 members. Thus, since then, a plethora of different Simian Line groups have sprung up on Facebook, so we are all still gathering at a constant pace. But the question remains as to why. And I'm just sharing this part because the fact that we are gathered here right now, having this conversation right now in Ascension, in the middle of this quantum shift of energy, in a return to an ancient memory of how we lived in nature as one through this new energy of quantum entanglement, is absolutely amazing. We should celebrate. The call was heard. We're still understanding what the call is, although this is what Cosmic Christie is. This is what I'm going through. This is Ascension. This is, when we talk and read through the Legend of the Perakee, the double simians have been reincarnating on this earth over and over, and they have been holding the light. They have been ascending. The path of the Perakee is to balance the ego and the heart, the Mars and the Venus. There's different terms for these, and we'll go through them, but it's the same thing. It's just more intense in you. You feel those energies more intensely because they're so intertwined. I can relate. I have A negative blood and B negative blood. I'm a Libra to the core with 5 planets. Everything in my life is about balance. And to kick that off, you know, I got so many star nations that galactically I am, you know, this hybrid of benevolent and non-benevolent beings. So I have this DNA that's unlocking that I'm constantly having to discern, you know, and make the true path for my soul here and now. So it's the same thing. This is what we're going through. The Perakee, the double simian, have been going through it every lifetime, attempting to, some of them succeeding, and they were taught, that was the Legend of the Perakee, was these teachings. But that was an old energy. And we were hijacked. So these things that I talk about when I'm talking about the starseed lineage, which all, remember, everyone has starseed lineage. Every single one of us comes from one of these 22 galactic star nations that started planning this takeover right now. And this is, here we are. So if you have one Simian line on one hand, we'll go into detail on that. It's not that, remember, there is no good, there is no bad. There is no superior or inferior. it does not exist in this new galactic world, quantum world that we're living in. It does not exist. We are all equal. We are all one. We are all made and delivering our truth, which is quantum entanglement, which is shifting and bringing and holding the light and is shifting the planet. And those of us who have done this internal work are leaping. And for all you double simians, this is what we're here to do on this journey together. And I'm not the end all be all to all information. You know, that's why I told you the story in the beginning of how I fell onto this information. It's part of my mission. I was supposed to, just like I was adopted and had, you know, this horrific way that I actually came into this world, because I had to constantly search it out so I could have the knowledge now, so that I would go seek what I didn't know, and so that I would be knowledgeable enough to validate what I do know. So if you are a double simian and you felt this calling, yes, there's a calling. Yes, there is ascension going on. Yes, you are needed to help ground energy and stay in balance. Does everyone know how to do this? No. This is, you know, we are just now awakening, a lot of us. And so we are helping one another. You know, I talk about quantum astrology all the time. I'm going to start listing the groups. We've got, I think it's the Blood Moon Reich, Brianna's group with the Moon group. I need to post. She, you know, carries some different products that help us through this stuff, but most of them were just talking about the different frequency changes, the buzzing in your ears. Are you getting a sore throat? Are you dizzy? Are you tired? Then can you not sleep? You have huge bursts of energy. Your body has done it before. You have ascended before, so it's waking up really fast, just like when I explained about my RH negative lineage. You too, if you have double simian, this is why the synchronicities are off the chart. And right now, if your life is probably either really, really great or it's really, really shitty, if you aren't realizing that this is happening, because then you're not recognizing that you're creating your own reality, and you're getting every fear and every issue mirrored right back at you. So I know people have been waiting for this double simian video, which is why I wanted to do it. But the most important part, just like the RH negative video, the most important part is that we're all here to play a role, and we're all going through the same thing. There is not one of us who isn't experiencing these symptoms to some degree. And those of us who are from a longer lineage of awakening, the reason that we're here is so that we can help bring this knowledge and share, like I'm doing right now, in whatever way your soul wants to share it. Because we are having to relearn how to live, because this shift is happening. The weather, the politics, I mean, y'all see it. I know you feel it. The flu outbreak, come on, that's not the flu. It's frequencies. Forgot what, I call it frequency level ups, but frequency something light upgrades, right? I mean, it's the frequencies hitting the planet. It's where we are in the solar system. I have videos on this. So the good news is, double simians, yeah, you're where you're supposed to be. Now you get to start making conscious decisions on learning to harness those energies and we'll talk more about the Parakees, and please go read it. Go read The Legend of the Perakee with Larry Brinkley. If you could just go look up The Legend of the Perakee, it's like 4 different pages. You have to click on some. It's not dry. He's real personable. Larry's a great human, great soul, and so grateful that he put this information out there for all of us, to all of mankind, quite literally. There's one more thing that I want to read, and this is, and I did get approval from Larry. The Indian Graveyard. This is a poem that Larry Brinkley wrote, and sometimes it's just nice to be read out loud, and I think this is a really good homecoming for a lot of you, to find your tribes and know what it is. The Indian Graveyard. A lone rider moving slow across the enemy land. A band of braves circled close. He simply raised his hand. The war cries stopped and the lances dropped as they saw the mark he bore. They cleared his way and honored his stay. To harm him meant certain war. He's been to the graveyard to learn the wisdom of the dead. He's read the stones and ancient bones where angels fear to tread. He's been to the graveyard, now he's a medicine man. Power carried, and where he's tarries, peace spreads across the land. The Bow tribe of the Caddo is the holder of the blood. Indian law said Arkansas is the land of the talking wood. Hot springs and the diamonds are fruits of the sacred land. You can rob and rape, but you can't escape the curse of the holy man, because he's been to the graveyard. I got chills. I think we all can feel this in our bones. It's the evolution revolution. So can I get a hoot hoot? We'll get more in detail. And I want to thank James for reaching out to me and letting me know that he saw a huge shift in his heart chakra opened up, and he's seeing a whole new world. And that makes me so excited. I hope the clearings that we did helped. We'll do some more of those. It's crazy on my end, man. I felt it. I know y'all released some energy, so you don't even have to tell me. And let me know if there's anything specific you want to talk about. I'm just trying to go with it, but there's so much going on. I will be talking about healing soon. Like the next video is going to be on healing and how to heal ourselves with our energy. 432 hertz is what I'm playing right now. So if you like it, I'll post it on my Cosmic Crispy. I did it again. Cosmic Crispy site. I'm working on some art and things for you guys, so I'm super excited. We're shifting, and the tribes are gathering. Galactic travelers, please subscribe to support the tribes.